are no longer funding what? Petroleum subsidies. Why are you having these subsidies? So in the entire government, you will see what? Let me say more or less, a deceit, more or less. Let me say it. Let me use the word, but there's a kind of a deceit to move even the parameters of the budget and the season of the budget in such a way that you create what? Pressures, and then start calling names.
Okay, I want to be very clear here for just so that we don't unintentionally misinform our viewers. That when we talk about capital expenditure, we do need to acknowledge that indeed approximately 1.7 trillion has been cash released from the Ministry of Finance over the last 3.5 years to fund infrastructure projects. So to say that we're only funding salaries and not capital is just patently not true.
Let me ask you one question, if you wouldn't bother with me. If you release 1.7 trillion, and then at the time of release, there is what we call what? Allocation expenditure and the what? Allocation performance rating. When you release, and the construction company, because we are almost into construction, will now get ready and move to a site. Maybe you give them 20%. The next funding will not come up and they will withdraw from the site. So these are the basic issues. So funding of projects need assessment, expenditure profile, and then allocation and distribution what? Performance, efficiency of your fund. And as at the time it comes. And then the rate of inflation, which governs all this. Because most of these projects we are talking about have been reevaluated almost 4 times. Because you talk of what? Cash funding, no cash backing.
What we're referring to are projects that have been legacy projects. Clearly, you know, one of the major talking points in this campaign has been name 3 projects that the Buhari administration has started and completed. And then when you hear from officials of the Buhari administration, they say that that is a simplistic argument from people who essentially don't give enough attention to the kind of key details of administration, that indeed the wiser approach is to take the unfinished projects of previous administrations and plug money into completing those projects around the country. Do you think that that is a wise strategy, or do you think that there should be more priority placed on starting new projects and trying to complete new projects and then kind of leaving the other ones?
When you come into administration, you inherited what? An existing government is a continuum. So if you are transparent, you bring up what you met on ground. As at the moment, the administration, even the administration, did not tell us how much was in our coffers. And the project they were handing over, understand this issue the way it is. So Lagos-Ibadan Express Road is a case in point. Jonathan went there with Julius Berger and the other 3 companies. We have seen the same issue with Bicotony in our Los Angeles administration. We are still in Lagos-Ibadan Express Road up to date. Abuja, dualization of Abuja Lokoja Road is now a 2030 project. So none of these issues, like I said, if you are honest and transparent with yourself, these are roads that are critical to our national development. If you cannot fund them, let's have a transparent metering of all of us to see within 3 months what we collect in this, and then do what? Peg our what? Toll on this. We saw this in Lagos concession of Lekki project. Along the time, even the Lagos government did what? Moved away from the scene. So the basic issue, like I have said, is if you are transparent, if you are honest in what you are doing, these are not what? Very difficult issues. The best way to go about this is to do what? Get your template, set what is on ground, and then benchmark with other areas. So when we look at it, we are now in the era of what? Cost-benefit performance budgeting. We have gone beyond this issue of telling us
monitoring and evaluation. Yes.
No, we have gone beyond these issues of telling us this and this, this and this, that you inherited this or this and this. No, we have gone beyond that. What we are saying is this, that the issues on ground, don't bring projects. Like there are some of the projects, now you see universities of education, the next University of Agriculture. None of them was in their budget, and then funding them becomes a problem. What we are doing is that we are recycling old programs and old projects. And we have not even looked at the most critical issue, the human development. We are mass producing illiteracy in the name of what? University graduates. 85% of them have gone through what? Only arts and social sciences. And even within that, they are not employable. If you go to universities, you will see toddlers or teenagers who have sent there. Our universities today cannot produce what? Those who will do the work or challenge our what? Our environment. Aviation is a problem. Even what we call telecommunication. This morning, I know what it took me on failed calls, and I was billed. I cannot go to any person to talk about that unless I want to go to Brekete family, which is not even a formal setting to do so. So these are the basic issues. Our educations cannot meet that. And then the human capital, which China has appropriated and has what? Leverage on. We cannot do that. Yet we are talking about what, like I said, this is October. We have not seen the medium-term expenditure framework for next year. We have a law about that. And the financial year at pegged at the end of our financial year on 31st of December. So all these are the issues cumulatively that started with us since 1999, and we are still battling with
continuing. Let me ask you very quickly. You've pointed out, of course, the human capital indices in terms of our prioritization, clearly not where we all want it to be. When you look at the INEC budget, because we're in election season, we still don't have a budget for INEC to conduct this election in any case. We certainly don't have the security budget attached to the general election budget as well. How concerned are you about this development in view of the close proximity now to the 2019 general elections?
If you remembered when this administration came in, one of the heated arguments then was constituting the INEC board. And the administration had a rather worrisome gradual approach to this issue. Now the INEC, as at 2015, knew that there will be election in 2019. Any reasonable Nigerian knows about that. And the election needs what? Money to run it. The same body presented its 2018 budget proposal, which was assented to by the president in June. Within July, within the National Assembly, the same body came up again with what? A supplementary appropriation, which we have not even finished with. And now there are other collective issues. So the basic issue we have always talked about what? Institutional capacity. Because when the institutions are strong enough, they will be proactive, they will be dynamic, and they will be objective in what they do. So when you have such institutional deficiencies, these issues, just take the issue of what? Amendment of our constitution. If you clearly wait for now we have 4 major alterations. If you take a perusal, an objective perusal of that, you see that almost 2/3 of this entire exercise goes to what? Electoral issues. Yet if I ask you in the United States or the United Kingdom, who has the organization called our equivalent of INEC, you cannot say that because these are what? Systems that run on their own. So we have institutional problem of institutional deficiency and memory, and that is what is playing out. And until we correct that, it is not only INEC, all over the area, the police force as well. So the ASU, the labor movement, you don't know when there will be what? Strike or crisis because of what? Minimum wage or one issue or the other. So these are, you've seen an international airport shut down. And if you see what we call international airports, by all this our greatness, what it takes within 1 hour flight in Dubai, what they cover in 1 hour, we may not actually cover in 1 month in Nigeria. Then whatever, even the sub-gaps you have around, there are all international airports, but there's no problem.
Barrister, at this juncture, we're just going to take a very short break. We will continue in just a moment. Our viewers, please do stay with us. Welcome back to Sunrise Daily, coming to you live from our Abuja studio. I have been speaking with Barrister Emmanuel Anyegbunam, who is discussing issues concerning the reconvening of the National Assembly. So we've looked at some of the issues and some of the larger issues facing the country, but I want to get to one. We hear that the letter was read by Senate President Bukola Saraki from the President, essentially asking for the confirmation of a new secretary of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Do you think that, given the current climate, if you will, of peace or truce, that indeed some of these appointments that have been lagging behind in terms of non-confirmation can now be confirmed so that government can kind of try and work effectively?
Yes, it is for the best of the country. Understand the issue. Every enterprise is run by what? Great administrators. and government is what? The biggest enterprise. It is because we have no administrators. That's why we are facing most of this problem. So the basic issue now is to look at public administration and separate politics from what? Basic administration. If we achieve this, and this is what we have been calling for all through, most of these settings you are calling have no boards for almost 3 years. So if we are now learning our lesson at this particular time, it is key for us. And all of us, like I said, the civil society organization, and some of these, like Nigerian Bar Association, Nigerian Union of Journalists, should do a lot to set the beam light on these critical operators of our everyday life. And then let us have what? The much talked about and much thought what? Dividends for democracy. Since 1999 to date, we've not seen it. I'm from the eastern part of the country. Second Niger Bridge was built in 1965. How many presidents have commissioned that? 2 months today. One of the biggest nightmare under the sun. We happened by Easterners going back for Christmas on that since 1965 to date. So will you tell me that there is a government or any feeling of government within that? Look at the Southeast Road. What we call what? The old Port Harcourt Jenegua Road that moves that now it is still what? A headache. Look at Kaduna, even Kaduna Abuja axis. We thought there was a relief through the train. Look at it. So do we talk these issues? These are given for in the 21st century. Like I said, let us go back to our what? National development plans. We had critical administrators. The adepts of this world, Udojis and the rest of them.
At this juncture, we're going to close the show, Barrister, and we thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on all the diverse sectors of our national development this morning.
Thank you so much.
Well, I have been speaking with Barrister Emmanuel Agyegbunam, who has been discussing the issues concerning the reconvening of the National Assembly and other development issues around the country. At this juncture, we close. As always, thank you for watching, and I wish you a blessed day ahead. I am Ajuri Ngilale.
Yes, we did. Thank you for watching as well. It's goodbye from Lagos.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on this program are those of the maker and do not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, and endorsement of Channels Television.